Hello, everyone. Today I get the pleasure of sitting down and having a conversation with Miss Liza Lomax. Oh my gosh, I've been internet friends with her for several years now, I think. I don't even know how we met, actually. Um,
It's probably like 8 or 9 years that we've known each other. Yes. Yeah. Maybe going on 10. It's like we've been like network buddies and networking things. So
that's
yeah.
wild. Holy smokes. Wow. Okay. Anyways, but Liza is a life coach who helps people with an unhealthy relationship with food dissolve that stronghold it has over their life by walking with them through Liza's limitation lifter system. Ooh, that's fun. Liza is also a personal trainer, holistic nutritionist, Reiki master, NLP, EFT, TFT, REBT, and an emotional intelligence practitioner and speaker. Liza has struggled for many years with that stronghold of emotional eating and now is determined to help folks end their battle as well as find their authenticity and love their body. Liza, take it away, girlfriend.
I know you pretty much named off the alphabet soup. So yeah, it's
That
like
was so fun. I didn't
so
even
many
know
things.
you had all of those things. And I don't even know what TFT is or REBT.
Yes, it's a lot of those are just like cognitive behavior or therapies and things like
Okay.
that. So that's just a fraction of the things. So I use a lot of different modalities in my practice, as well as healing modalities, energy healing modalities, and spiritual modalities as well. So that's just like there's only so much you can fit into a bio, you know. I
Totally.
mean, come
Totally. You know
on.
what? Thinking back, I think that I had a reading from you when you were still doing your readings.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah, and I still do those. It's like I have people reach out to me that, that are specifically want a reading or want to, contact their loved one, their past loved one, because I am a medium as well and animal communicator. So I have, I've had a couple people reach out to me that I've like worked with their animals throughout the years too. So
I did not
um
know the animal part either. Look at
yes,
you.
yeah, I
You have a
know.
bunch of things up your sleeve.
Yes, lots of things, lots of things. So what my main focus is I really focus on the emotional eating aspect, and I'll tell a little bit about my story a little bit later, but really emotional eating is just a symptom of avoidance to something that someone may not want to have that heart-to-heart face-to-face conversation about. It's just a symptom of something that we're avoiding. And eating is human nature. I mean, wanting comfort food is human nature. I mean, we learn at a very, very young age about comfort food. And I go through the steps of like how it actually starts and how the disordered relationship actually starts with food, because all of us do it. I mean, we all turn to food to fill our bodies so we don't feel an emotion at times. We
So
all do
guilty.
this.
So
So guilty. Everybody is.
yeah.
And instead, the real issue is the uncomfortable emotion that we're feeling that's causing us to turn to that food as a coping mechanism, as a numbing mechanism. So I always ask people, what are you avoiding? What don't you want to deal with? What do you not want to feel? What's really underneath the surface that has been pushed down and pushed down and pushed down? We have been conditioned to not show emotions. We've been conditioned to push them down. And on the subject of conditioning, if I identify as a woman, you have been conditioned to be an unpaid caregiver for the rest of your life. It's a harsh reality for a lot of people to hear, especially if you're a mother, because your needs, your wants, your desires go on the back burner to everyone else's. We've been conditioned to believe that it's selfish to put ourselves first. Emotions are a sign of weakness. You got to push them down with whatever means necessary. You can't be priority number one, certainly not, because that's selfish and undeserving. And this is an old paradigm way of thinking. These are old beliefs that aren't even ours, that have been passed down from generation to generation. Like, and it's also not just generational, it's ancestral. And if you believe in past lives, it's past life stuff. So we take on these beliefs and these habits and these stories of other people's and make it our own reality, our own identity. So in order for us to truly give ourselves to others, we have to take care of ourselves first. We've got to put that oxygen mask on ourselves first. Let's play an analogy. When it's going down, we got to do our thing first. We got to do our part first before we start helping. Yes. So how do we fix this? How do we change this? First of all, I like to tell people that they're not broken and they do not need to be fixed. What needs to be fixed or rather changed is the beliefs and the habits and the stories, the sabotaging patterns, all those things that we've been telling ourselves, bullying ourselves about, emotionally eating about, that we need to deal with. So I say this a lot, putting on our big people pants and doing the work to shift it, doing the work to reframe those beliefs. And I just as, I have my own stuff too. It's like when I feel like I'm leveling up, I go through a period where I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel I'm leveling up and I've got all these things I got to deal with and things are coming up. And I'm like, sometimes it's like I get in my own head and that inner child starts talking again, or that old Liza, that old paradigm starts to talk again. And then I have to like, oh my gosh, I can't be in this space because it's not getting me anywhere. So, even as coaches need coaching, healers need healing. We all need that support and that accountability and all that stuff. So how do we stop that eating emotionally? And I'll share with you a couple tips, and hopefully your listeners and will resonate with this. And they'll be able to kind of put the wheels in motion per se, as to get, as to feeling their emotions and experiencing what's going on and not pushing it down anymore. Keeping a food diary is one. Writing down everything that you eat. You can write down how much you eat, when you eat, how you're feeling when you eat, and how hungry you are. And that's what I really I ask them to really focus on. It's not so much about how much you're eating or when you're eating, it's what you're feeling when you're eating that. And are you hungry? Or are you bored? Or are you stressed? What emotion are you actually feeling? So that's why, keeping a food diary is not like, oh, I've got to count my calories. I've got to count my macros. I got to do this. I got to write all this stuff down. Well, that's more restrictive.
Yeah.
What I like to do, what I teach people to do is, it's like you feel the emotions. Like, what are you actually feeling during that time? What were you experiencing that made you turn to that food item? So over time, if you do this, you'll see patterns, and you'll see the connection between your mood and food.
Yeah.
So, and I'm a firm believer in intuitive eating, aka mindfulness eating, however you want to word it. And that can be a whole other topic. Whole other topic. I'm very anti-diet culture.
Yep.
Diets set us up for failure.
Yeah.
And again, that's a whole other topic, like talking about January 1st. Oh my gosh. Let's not even go there right now. I know, it's like January 1st for some people is just like this magical day that everything gets changed and it shifts. No, it does not. It's not magical. So again, that's a whole other thing that we could talk about. Another tip is taming stress. So if stress contributes to your emotional eating, Try a stress management technique such as yoga, meditation, deep breathing, getting out in nature, hugging a loved one, hugging your children if you have children, hugging your fur baby if you have fur babies, anything to kind of lower the stress. Tapping, if your listeners are familiar with tapping, EFT, there's lots of different things that you can do to kind of lower that stress, so you're not like, wanting to go and emotionally eat about it. Another tip is having a reality check-in with you, a hunger reality check. Is your hunger physical or is it emotional? I do this talk on this one as well. If you ate just a few hours ago and don't have a rumbling stomach, you're probably not hungry. So give the craving time to pass.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Get support. Of course, yes, it's an obvious one, but a lot of us have been conditioned that we can do it all on our own and we don't need help and we got to figure it out. You are more likely to give into emotional eating if you lack that good support network. So leaning onto family, friends, joining a support group, getting a coach to help you. And another tip is fight boredom. So instead of snacking when you're not hungry, distracting yourself and substitute a healthier behavior, like a walk, watch a movie, play with your cat or dog, your fur babies, listen to music, read, surf the internet if you want to, call a friend. There's lots of different ways to fight boredom. So removing yourself, the whole point is removing yourself out of that situation into another healthier, emotional outlet instead of the emotional outlet you've been going to. Another tip is take away the temptation. Don't even keep those hard to resist comfort foods in your home. Why are you bringing them in your home?
Yeah.
If you feel hungry or sad, postpone your trip to the grocery store. Do not go to the grocery store when you're hungry, sad, angry, emotional, none of that stuff, because you will buy all what I call the crap, the CRAP, the carbonated beverages, refined sugars, artificial flavors, processed foods.
Oh, that's so perfect.
You'll buy the crap.
Yeah.
So wait until your emotions are in check first before you go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
And eat something too before you go to the grocery store, because it's the same thing. It's like if you don't eat before you go, you're going to buy all kinds of stuff. You're like, oh, that looks good. Oh, that looks good. That looks good. And then you'll come home and like, why did I buy this stuff?
Yeah. Your bill's way more than it needs to be.
Right. Another tip is don't deprive yourself. So when you are trying to lose weight, you might limit your calories too much, eat the same foods repetitively, banish treats altogether. This may just serve to increase your food cravings, especially in response to emotions, especially, eating those happy amounts of healthier foods, enjoying the occasional treat, getting plenty of variety to curb your curb those cravings. And I offer what's called a craving elimination session, where, yes, to reframe those cravings and help you have a better relationship with them. I walk you through a technique. It's an NLP technique. So NLP stands for neuro linguistics programming, and it's reframing beliefs. And I walk you through a technique where it remaps it in your brain so you have a better connection with it. Because a lot of times when we crave an item or we crave something, there's a specific reason why we're craving that specific item. And that's our go-to, like Oreo cookies or Reese's peanut butter cups or Swedish fish. It's like,
yeah.
I've done like craving elimination sessions on the oddest things that's their go-to. Like every time they feel stressed or anxious or mad or depressed or bored, they go to that item.
So question, when people, like you feel, let's say someone feels anger and they go to one particular item, do you find that when they feel like other emotions such as stress or what have you, they go to that same item, or is it different? Because I'm thinking about myself and I feel like depending on what emotion I feel like it's a different food item for each emotion, essentially.
Yeah, you can certainly have a different emotion for, a different, craving for, each emotion you have. And a lot of times people have just like that one go-to, that one junk food item that they're like, oh, and there's always a connection, not even on an emotional level. It could be a connection from childhood. There's some sort of like memory or something wrapped up around that.
Okay.
And you can certainly, so in my coaching program, I offer a craving elimination session every month. So if you want to eliminate, you could eliminate up to 12 different items if you wanted to.
Okay.
And so walk you through that technique of, if it's something that you consciously and with intention know that it sabotages your weight loss goals or sabotages your dietary plan, eating plan, whatever you want to call it. If you know it sabotages you and you want to consciously make a decision to no longer eat it, to eliminate it, then we do that at that session.
Okay. Cool.
So most of the time people, I mean, there have been times where it's like the person goes back to that item, but it's not as severe as it used to. There's a small percentage where it does happen. It's like, we're only human. We make choices, we make decisions, we have free will, so,
Yeah.
and there's some that have like, I've come back to them and I've asked them like, hey, how are you with that one item? And they're like, I don't even remember what the item is, which is great. It's like, yes, I'm like, you don't even remember. It means it's
That's
just like,
awesome.
it's not even in your mind anymore, which is good.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
So
Cool.
another tip is snacking healthier. And I always like to say healthier. I don't foods should not be labeled good or bad. Food is food. Food is fuel. So if you're eating, you're eating. Yeah, it might not be the healthiest choice for you, but you're still eating it. So I always say healthier versus healthy. If you feel the urge to eat between meals, then choose that healthier snack, like fresh fruit, vegetables with hummus, or some sort of dip, a healthier dip, nuts, unflavored popcorn. I use olive oil and salt on my popcorn, even though
Oh,
I love butter.
yeah.
But but it depends on what your eating plan is. Like right now, specifically for me, my eating plan is I am eating low carb. I also do intermittent fasting. And so I do low carb. So I am allowed to have butter and have some of those things. But when I go off it, because I do like I do it like kind of like a detox, and like I was just in Italy last month. And so, Italy, hello, pizza, pastas, pastries, all the gelato, all the stuff. So it's like, I wanted to partake in that stuff. I wanted to allow myself permission to have those things. That's another like mindset thing, is allowing yourself to do these things.
Yeah.
So just trying to find lower calorie versions of your favorite foods too, if you need to satisfy that craving. And then the last one is learning from setbacks. So if you have an episode or you have a situation of emotional eating, forgiving yourself, starting fresh the next day, try to learn from the experience, like make a plan for how maybe to prevent it again in the future when it comes up. Focus on the positive changes that you're making in your everyday eating habits, and give yourself credit for making those changes that'll lead to a better health, a healthier, long-term sustainable lifestyle.
Yeah.
And if you tried every self-help option, but you still can't control emotional eating, consider again working with somebody who coaches on the very subject, who has experience and expertise. I spent 25 years of my life in that stronghold of emotional eating. I spent 25 years of my life obsessed with changing the outside, because I was told I was not good enough just as I was.
Mm.
I spent 25 years of my life doing all sorts of things to my body that nobody should ever do to themselves. I was addicted to diet pills, diet programs, anything and everything there was, I did. 200, I wrote this down one time as I wanted to see. I'm like, I wonder how many diets I've actually done. 250 different diets I did and pills I took. Yes. I've been 100 pounds and I've been 300 pounds. And it didn't matter where I was on the scale, no pun intended. I was always unhappy with who I saw in the mirror. I've even punched mirrors before because I did not like what I saw staring back at me. I was unhappy, angry, depressed, mad at the world, hated myself. I put myself in situations where I could have been killed. I almost died twice. I was sexually assaulted. I'd had an abortion. I drank myself into a slumber almost all the time, every weekend. I had eating disorders, severe body dysmorphia. I was physically, mentally, emotionally abused by others and myself so many times, so much of my life. All because I didn't like the body I was in. And I thought that I had to look like what the models in the magazines look like, the actors on TV and in movies, the beautiful, tall, super thin girls I saw walking down the street every day. It was constantly plastered in my face. People would people would call me the sweet chubby friend, or I was told that you're just big boned, or you have such a pretty face. And I was always like, what the does that mean? Like, really? It gave me even more of a complex and more damage to my psyche. And all those things are horribly offensive.
Mhm.
And all of them set me back even further. The only place left for me was to hit rock bottom, to crash, to burn. And I did just that. And I was given a second chance, hearing the voice, don't screw this one up, Liza, hearing the voice, whether you believe in God, higher source, higher power, saying, hello, something needs to change. You need to change something. And what needed to change was I needed to get my mindset healthier. I needed to get healthier in my head first before anything else could change. And I needed to do the inner work to shift what was going on inside.
Yeah.
Once I shifted that, the whole world and perspective changed. The light bulb went off. I say, I found the key, or the magic pill per se. I found what actually works.
Wow.
And yeah, and I mean, I did all the things that you think you're supposed to do. I did read all the self-help books, and turned to all the self-help gurus and did therapy, and it wasn't until I realized that I was going about it backwards. Like, we are all conditioned to believe that we need to go outside of ourselves for happiness, for fulfillment, to change something about ourselves, when really it's a complete opposite.
Yeah.
You
What
have
was
to
that
change.
moment?
I'm sorry, what?
What was that moment? When were you like, holy smokes, like this isn't about anything or anybody else other than myself, other than the inside?
Yeah, I hit a bottom a couple times, and I gotten up to 300 pounds at one time, and the doctor told me that I was going to die if I didn't lose weight. And
Mm.
at the time, so I have an adult child, and at the time he was 2. And so I was like, well, I won't even live to see him turn 5. So I got to change some things. So I ended up losing 105 pounds in about 13 months.
Oh,
But
wow.
I still looked at myself in the mirror and hated what I saw.
Mm.
It didn't matter where I was on that scale. I
Yeah.
still looked in that mirror and I still hated who I saw. And I lost the weight, and then I went back to the same habits, the same stories, the same tapes, the same things that got triggered, and hit another bottom where I was in a situation where I woke up and I didn't know how I got there. I didn't know where I was. I didn't know what happened to me, nothing. And I was like, okay, this is, why am I doing this? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, the things that I'm putting myself through, this can't be all, this can't be my life. And, having that voice, like, I literally heard a voice, like, you got to change or else you won't be on this earth any longer. So I had to get, I had to do the work, but at the time it was like, I kept going outside of myself, because that's how we were conditioned to believe, that we have to go outside of ourselves. We have to, but it's opposite. We got to heal the inside first if we want to change the outside, if that's what that person desires. Because a lot of people come to me and they say they want to lose weight. I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to lose 25, 30, 50, 100. I want to lose the weight. The weight, again, like I said in the beginning, is just a symptom. Like, what's really underneath the surface? What's really going on? What don't you want to feel? What don't you want to heal? What's really going on? And knowing that it is important. They are priority number one. They have to put their oxygen mask on first. They've got to take care of their needs first. They got to do the things. They got to do the inner work first before they can change the outside. If that's what they desire.
Yeah.
So my mission is to help everyone find their authenticity, find who they put in a box, find who they put on the back burner, left cast aside, help them realize, to show their emotions, that it's okay to take care of yourself. It's okay to put yourself first. It's okay to love yourself. It's okay to value yourself. It's okay to appreciate yourself. And you got to give yourself permission. You got to allow yourself to do that. You got to want change. We have the power to change. We always have the power to change.
Yep.
We need to want it. We must be willing to get dirty and heal the inside. We get to be resilient, persistent, patient, loving, caring with ourselves. So again, anybody who's listening to this, it's time to put your big people pants on. It's time to heal and deal and shift your shit.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. You touched a little bit earlier about, like not depriving yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But then like going hand in hand with that, I feel like when you don't deprive yourself, when you maybe indulge in one of your favorite things, whatever. I would love if you would touch on guilt in that, if you have anything to say around guilt and yeah.
Again,
favorites.
it's a mindset shift.
Mhm.
So it's again using buzzwords, because there's buzzwords that I use.
Mhm.
It's allowing yourself to indulge,
Mhm.
and it's giving yourself permission, because we're the only ones standing in our own way. We're our biggest critics and our worst enemies.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, for sure.
And when you judge yourself, you reject yourself. You give yourself this message that I don't like you as you are, and I will only like you if you change.
Ooh, that's powerful.
Yes, we do this all the time.
Yeah.
We're constantly rejecting ourselves. We're constantly bullying ourselves. We're constantly criticizing ourselves for the guilt, the shame, the blame, whatever it is.
Mhm.
And it has a lot to do with the conditioning of how we were raised, our environment, societal stuff, things that are just kind of, put into us when we're young kids. We're made to feel guilty. We're told that we have to feel guilty. We're told that we have to just survive. We're told that we have to work ourselves to the bone. We're told that we have to do the things to make things happen. We got to go outside of ourselves, and we're not good enough. We're not special enough. So all those things creates the guilt. So when you want to partake in a certain item, it's saying, okay, I might feel the guilt. I might feel some shame that come on, and that's okay. So just to sit in that, to acknowledge, you need to acknowledge it. Like, oh yes, I am feeling guilty, and I'm going to still allow myself to do this because I want to do this. I'm making a conscious decision to choose to do this. But it's just, you have to have the awareness first. So, you know, and it can happen so many times where you'll eat the item or you'll restrict yourself. And then restriction is like you're basically telling your brain, when you restrict yourself, you're telling your brain, I can have those items anytime I want. So it's not, you're not really restricting yourself, because eventually you're going to turn to those items.
Yeah.
Eventually you're going to go eat those items.
Yep.
So if you tell yourself, I'm choosing to eat this item now, or I'm choosing to have X, Y, and Z right now, and that's okay. And it's just building that awareness that you're in that mode, and it's feeling the emotions and actually feeling in it. Why are you feeling this? Is there a memory that comes up? Is there something that comes up, and, you know, or something that's related to that? Like I had one person that I did, you know, and I tap into that intuitively. I tap in like, what's really going on? And I listen for certain things. And I did a craving elimination. I'm going to go back to the craving elimination session, but I did one of those for somebody, and it took a whole other turn, because I saw this scenario. I saw this situation. I saw this story, and I said, okay, I said, so, and before I tell the story about that person, let me put some context as understanding why this is the way it is. So when we're babies, we're sitting in a high chair, and our mom is just or whoever is just shoveling food in her mouth, you know, like, so we learn this hand to mouth motion, and we learn that this is comfort. This is comfort. This is stability. This is support. Because our mom's trying to fill our, you know, trying to fill some need that they may feel that we're experiencing, like we're hungry, we're upset, we're angry, or whatever it is. So we learn this hand to mouth motion at a very young age. Okay. So then take this a little step further and say you get an A on your report card. Oh, let's go celebrate with some ice cream. Or, ooh, you broke up with your boyfriend and girlfriend. Oh, let's go get some ice cream. Let's soothe those emotions. So you learn, if you're happy, you get ice cream. If you're sad, you get ice cream.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Then you take it one other step further. Most people come from two different types of backgrounds. Okay. Most people came from a place of abundance. So if you came from a place of abundance, food was always available. Have whatever you wanted, whenever you wanted, however much you wanted, or not any at all. But you knew it was always available. So you learn unhealthy eating habits that way, based on those other things that happened in the past. Or you came from a place of lack or scarcity, where you didn't know where your next meal was going to come from. You had to get to the dinner table, or you didn't get enough food. Or if you had to sit at the dinner table, eat all your food. And if you didn't eat all your food, you were punished and sent to your room. That's where eating disorders come into play. That's where we start to develop that disordered relationship. And so we learn survival mode. So most people came from a place of lack or scarcity. They really did. But it's two different places. So you take all those into consideration. So to go back to the story, it turns out that this person was addicted to this certain item because they were always sent to their room to be punished because they didn't eat all their food. And so they decided to start hoarding food in their bedroom. And this one particular item they kept in their room because it was soothing and it was comforting and it helped them. They thought it helped them.
Yeah.
So there's so many habits and beliefs and stories that we take on from our parents and they instill in us that create that disordered relationship with food, with our bodies and our minds.
Wow. That like whole story, I think is just that was so powerful to be able to trace back exactly like where it came from that early on in their life until their adulthood. Like, holy smokes, and how that affected. Wow.
Yeah. And all of us, it affects us on all different levels. Some of us have a bigger struggle than others, but we all turn to food items. Food is the number one source we turn to combat feelings of any emotion, even if it's happy.
Yeah.
You know, oh, you get to go to a party and eat cupcakes and cake and eat all the things. And then what happens later? Most people start bullying themselves. Oh, why did I eat all that? Oh my gosh, I'm so fat. I'm so this, I'm so that. Well, no. Like, that's another thing. It's like when people say, I'm fat, it's like, no. You have fat.
Yes.
You are not fat.
Yes.
You have fingernails. It doesn't mean you're fingernails. I've said that so many times and people love
That's
that. I'm like,
hilarious.
so, and fat is not a bad word.
Yeah.
Fat is not a bad word. Fat is just something that we have. We need to have fat on our bodies to survive.
Yeah.
And again, whole other topic.
Yeah. I feel like there's so many different topics in this one topic that we could unpack.
Right.
Like, we need like 50 different podcast episodes.
Well, I would love to come on again and talk. So yeah.
Totally. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. So good. Yeah. What would be your number one? I mean, I know you gave us several different tips earlier, but like, what is your number one, like, I don't know, what's the number one thing you want to leave the audience with?
I would love to challenge everybody to go to the mirror every single morning or whenever and just say, I love you to yourself. Now, I love you is very powerful because we can say it to every single person, our fur babies, our parents, our kids, our siblings, our grandparents, whomever, we can say, I love you too, but we have a really hard time saying it to ourselves based on conditioning. Oh, it's selfish. We're undeserving. We're not worthy. We're not good enough. Whatever the story is playing. Really, when it comes down to it, it's always, I'm not good enough and I'm not worthy. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's how we internalize it. And that's really what's really the main thing. And go to the mirror every single morning and start saying, I love you. It might feel weird at first. It might feel challenging. You may be like, oh, this is just dumb. Or you're like, I don't like to look at myself, that kind of thing. Just try it. Try it for at least 5 days, just 5 days. Now, things aren't going to shift and change overnight because we know things don't shift and change overnight. That's impossible. We didn't gain a weight overnight. We can't lose it. We didn't gain a habit overnight. We can't lose it. It's continuous, continuously doing the same thing over and over again. If you decide to go further, you will eventually consciously override the fact that you don't love yourself. And yes, how that happens is science tells us that when you're attracted to something or someone, your pupils dilate. Okay. So I hope you see where I'm going with this, and I hope the listeners see where I'm going with this. If you consciously make that intention to say, I love you to yourself, every single day for as long as you can, and you start to see your pupils dilate, you are overriding that belief that you don't love yourself.
Oh, wow. That gave me chills.
And I love that. It's like, just say, I love you. It's
Yeah.
not that hard. Because we aren't loving ourselves when we say those things to ourselves, when we're putting ourselves down, when we're bullying ourselves, when we're criticizing ourselves, we're not loving ourselves. And people, I mean, and I always say, I'm like, if you're listening to this and you're shaking your head, no, it's like, yes, you are. We nitpick at every single little imperfection. It doesn't even matter if it's a slip of the tongue or it's just, just say it one time or whatever. If you bully yourself and you criticize yourself and you say anything negative of yourself, you do not love yourself. You don't.
Mm-hmm. Because
Because if you loved yourself, you wouldn't be talking smack about yourself.
yeah.
You wouldn't be saying those things.
Yeah.
So I'm guilty of that too. I'm like, I work on myself too all the time. I'm like, I'm up leveling myself. When we start growing and changing and evolving more and more and more, our comfort zone gets a little bit bigger. We got to go back out. We got to get back out. Got to get back. I mean, do the things.
Always something new.
Always something to change and always something to, that we're always evolving.
Yeah.
So, but
Ooh.
if you could just do that one, just 3 little words. I call it 3 little words. Now, there are a lot of coaches out there that do practice the same thing, the mirror work, going to the mirror, saying affirmations, saying the things. But the thing about affirmations is that you have to be in the right mindset. If you're in an angry mood or if you're just like down in the dumps or something and you say an affirmation, you're not going to believe it. It's going to be BS to you. You're just like, whatever, like, this is
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah.
To embody it, you have to be like, okay, I'm going to believe this. I'm going to put myself in a neutral position, maybe even
Yep.
wait, so doing the work, you got to do the work to make change happen.
I am cracking up because I have so done that. Like I've just been in this really shit mood and like trying affirmations and then I'm saying them, but I'm like, what the
No, you
fuck
don't
am I
believe them.
doing this for?
Right,
Like this
right.
is so dumb. And I just quit in the middle of them and then I just decide that I'm gonna feel my feels and we'll come back to them. It's okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And that's the thing about the subconscious. So another nugget is that if you've been telling yourself the same dialogue over and over and over again.
Mhm.
And I'm going to use this as an example. I'm ugly, fat, stupid, not good enough, not worthy enough, not tall enough, not small enough, not short enough, my nose is crooked. I have gray hair. I have cellulite. I have wrinkles. I have acne. Whatever that you're telling yourself, it goes in and it hangs out in your subconscious. And then it waits perfect opportunity to rear its ugly head back at you because, hello, you've been telling yourself these things. And so that anytime you want to shift something or you want to change something or somebody gives you a compliment, somebody's nice to you, your subconscious is going to remind you, no, 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 they're lying to us because what you told us was fact. Because anything you tell yourself is fact. That's the facts. Those are facts. So until you can change that and consciously tell yourself over and over again, and then you start to see that your subconscious is kind of changing some of those habits and those behaviors and you're thinking differently, you're going to still keep reminding yourself that you're ugly, fat, stupid, disgusting, not worth it, not good enough, not tall enough, not small enough, not whatever.
Yeah.
You're going to keep doing it.
Yeah. Love yourself, people. Love the shit out of yourself.
Yes.
Man.
Yes. Yes. And I mean, I can look at myself in the mirror now. I mean, there's still times where I do struggle with body dysmorphia, but not to the point where I'm like, I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, oh, that's gross.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can look at myself in the mirror and be like, I love what I see. Like, I love my reflection. I'm like, I did so much work on myself and I can see I see me, I see me and I see the real me. And that's what I want to help other people get to that point, even naked.
Yeah.
Let's look at yourself in the mirror naked and love
Oh,
that naked body staring back at you. A lot of people can't do that.
I don't think oh. Like I
So I
can
ask
look at
people,
myself, like but to
mhm,
love it is like,
mhm, yeah. So I ask people on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being you absolutely love what you see in the mirror, or 1 you absolutely detest what you see in the mirror, where do you land? And then if they didn't picture themselves naked, I say, picture yourself naked. Does the number go up or does it go down?
mm,
And most of the time it's going to go down.
yeah.
So if you have a low number, come and see me.
Woo.
And I'm not expecting you to be like, like a 10 or a 9.
Yeah.
No, there's always room for improvement. You know,
Yeah.
what would it take to just get you to a 7 or an 8? What would it take?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So good. So good. I will put all of Liza's info in the show notes so that if this resonated with you, when this resonates with you,
Mm-hmm.
you can check her out. You can connect with her. She is a beautiful, loving human. I love her. You
Thank
will
you.
love
I
her.
love you.
Oh, this was so fun. Thank you for popping on here and being a guest.
Yes, thank you for having me. I appreciate it very much. I appreciate you.
I appreciate the shit out of you. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.